Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm obviously not in the kitchen, instead I decided to do the Draw My Life challenge. So I was born in September in Birmingham, Alabama. My mom is Alice, and my dad, well, I don't really know my dad. I guess that's not true. I know his name. His name's John, but I've never met him, and I don't know anything about him. Shortly after I was born, my parents decided to move closer to family. The closest family around was my father's in Florida, so they packed up and moved to Florida. From what I understand, my parents were in love and they had gotten married the year before I was born, but I don't know what happened, and shortly after I moved to Florida, they broke up. And my mom decided to move closer to her family, which was mostly in Indiana. So she packed up our stuff and moved us to Indiana. My mom is one out of 13 kids. She has 9 brothers and 5 sisters. When we moved to Indiana, we lived with one of her brothers for a while, but things started getting tense between them. They started fighting a lot, and my mom wasn't happy, so she decided to move us again. By this time, I was about 2 years old, and we left for northern Indiana, and we stayed in a women's shelter there. While there, my mom met a guy. His name was Larry. He made my mom so happy. He was super sweet and kind, and eventually he asked my mom to move with him. She said yes. We packed up his truck and moved with him. Everything was really great. One day while I was playing in the living room, I heard the back door slam. Larry had come home early. Something had happened with his boss at work and he lost his job. He was super angry, yelling and screaming. I heard them fighting, and when I went to see what was happening, I saw him holding a knife threatening my mom. So because he'd lost his job, we had to move again. We packed up and headed into Montana. He dropped us off at a gas station while he went off to have a job interview. He told us that while he was away, we were supposed to find somewhere to stay. My mom and I went all around that town. We stopped at hotels, motels, apartment buildings, campgrounds, everywhere and anywhere looking for something. Eventually, we stopped in a small bait and tackle shop and asked the lady there if she knew of anywhere to stay. She didn't, and she asked why. My mom broke down and told her all about Larry. The lady then called her husband and asked him to come to the shop. When he got there, she told him all about us and about Larry. When she was done retelling her story, he cracked open the cash register and took out a bunch of money and gave it to us. He told us there was a bus that stops at the gas station in town once a day, and he told us to buy some tickets and get out of there. That person saved our lives, and I'll never be able to find them and thank them. So we got on the bus and we headed to Helena, Montana. We moved around a lot during the 6 years we lived there, from one big apartment complex to a trailer in a classic trailer park, back to a nicer apartment. Eventually my mom met a new guy. She really liked him, but he ended up getting us evicted from our apartment. So my mom realized we couldn't stay in Montana anymore. We packed up and moved to Utah. That was where I met my first real relationship. He was great at first, but then we started fighting all the time. He introduced me to drugs, and I quickly became heavily addicted. I missed almost the entire year of 9th grade because of it. After a few years of dating, he asked me to marry him. Although in hindsight, it was really more of a promise ring. I was only 15 years old after all. Soon after he proposed, his parents decided to move from Utah back to their home state of Georgia. They saw the bad position I was in and decided to take me with them. So I moved to Georgia too. When we first moved, I slowly stopped doing as much drugs, and I worked really hard to catch up on school to be with my graduating class. But my ex didn't stop using, which caused a huge rift between us. We started fighting a lot more. The fights got worse and worse and more violent. He eventually cheated on me, and I finally broke up with him. I was living with him and his parents, so after we broke up, I didn't know where else to go. I called my mom back in Utah saying I needed to come home, and she said I couldn't. So his mom talked to her sister, and I ended up moving in with her. Throughout my remaining high school years, for various reasons, I moved around a lot. At one point, I was living in a trailer with a drug dealer, which really didn't help my sobriety. I even moved back in with his aunt again. I realized after I graduated that there wasn't really anything left for me in Georgia. I was working a crappy kitchen job for minimum wage, which I couldn't live off of, and I had met a guy online. We talked all the time, and he told me about Montreal, and it seemed like the perfect next step. So with my last paycheck, I bought a one-way ticket to Vermont and hoped that he was going to pick me up. I had never met him in person, so it was a huge risk, and I only had $20 to my name. He turned out to be a great guy. But eventually, I realized that the relationship wasn't going to work out. So I broke up with him. So I moved down to Vermont to live with my mom again. She moved there to be closer to me. I kept trying to find jobs, but I couldn't get hired anywhere. So I spent a lot of time online, and I ended up chatting even more with a guy who I had met through a group of friends while living in Canada with my ex. We got super close, and eventually I decided to move back up to Canada to be with him. We fell madly in love and built a great little life together. Finally, he asked me to marry him. I couldn't believe it. I finally found the man of my dreams. The next year we got married. All of our closest friends and family were there, and it was absolutely the most perfect, best day ever. I don't know what the future holds for us, but I know we can handle anything together. Hey guys, if you've watched this video all the way to the end to this part, thank you so much. I decided to put out this video. For one, it's therapeutic to talk about my past, and for two, I know that there's a lot of other people out there who have had similar pasts or gone through similar things and are still stuck in sort of that rut and still just sort of think that that's all there's ever going to be. And I wanted people to know or realize that you can change and you can move past it, and that your past does not dictate or predict or write your future. You can change that. There's a poem that my 7th grade vampire English teacher, I think she was a vampire because she had jet black hair, wore black clothes, and was pale as fuck. She made us memorize this poem by William Ernest Henley called Invictus. Invictus? I don't know. I say it's Invictus, whatever. It goes like this. Out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I think whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And that poem, throughout everything that I've been through in my life, and I color-coded, I glossed over a lot of stuff. Out of everything that I've been through, I just realized that I don't have to stay where I was. I don't have to allow my past to dictate what my future will be. All you can do in situations like that is learn from your past and grow to be a better person. And that's why I made this video. I know other people who are going through similar situations, similar things that are really hard to overcome, and you just start thinking, well, you know, these are the cards I've been dealt, and I can't change, but you can. You can get it through anything if you try hard enough. Because life is work. Life is a lot of work. And there's always going to be obstacles in your way. If you like this video, or if you learned something new about me that you might not have ever thought was something that was part of my past, click that like button. If you or someone you know is going through something similar and you want to help them, motivate them, show them that you can change, share this video with them. And I would love to know if you have any experiences that you have overcome. Leave a comment down below and let me know. Thanks so much again for watching this video all the way to the end and seeing this part. It took me 2 weeks to make this video. I didn't work on it every single day. Obviously, I'm not an artist, so the drawing process was extremely hard for me. It was hard to do this video, but I think it was therapeutic and good. I have new uploads every week, so be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Ariana Grande hair going on today. Shit, girl. What? See, contouring makes your face look skinny. Thanks, Kim K.